This is Crowe from Digital Darkroom. I'm going to show you how to make a picture a little bit more punchy in Lightroom. Okay, so we're going to start off with this picture here. It is... Okay, we're going to start with this picture here. It is one shot from a recent wedding I did. This was actually shot by my assistant, but... and she was using a Rebel T3. Just to kind of show you that it's not going to be that bad of a picture. This is kind of the end result that I got. I think it looks very magazine-esque. You know, sure, it could be a little bit better here or there. The background could be a little bit better, but just to show you how to make an image that's very flat, very blue, very not welcoming almost. Not too much detail, how to really punch it up. So what we're going to start with is getting the exposure right. Now this is the big reason why you want to shoot in RAW, is because you can have so much more control in RAW. So what we're going to do is we're going to first adjust our exposure to something that seems probably a little overdone, because we're going to darken a lot of the details and that's going to make the image seem a little bit darker. And I like bright pictures. Bright, happy pictures. And I'm a little OCD, so we're going to go right for 2. Okay, so click on 2, and let's see here. Alright, so the picture's still very blue. Now again, another reason to shoot in RAW. In JPEG, you can still turn your picture, you can change your color temperatures, but not by a lot, because it puts a hue, or not hue, more of a phase, or a, almost I want to say smog, cloudy color in your picture. So if you add more yellow, more warmth to the image, it will get kind of like this yellow fog. But not so much with RAW. RAW will actually give you, will pump in more yellow into the picture while still preserving that detail. So let's warm up the picture. Let's see here. Oh, that is looking much, much better. Oh yeah. Usually don't want to go too crazy, even though I like going crazy, especially with warmth. But you don't want them to look too fake. Don't want to put too much of that spray tan on. Alright, let's add some contrast. Let's punch that picture up a little bit. There we go. And let's see here. Before we get too much farther, let's up that sharpness. I like to go pretty heavy on the sharpness, especially on guys' face. You can see well, guys' faces. You can see a little bit more of that ruggedness in their skin. We're gonna add a little bit of this in order to soften the image, and I like to put the color up pretty high when I do that. It'll get rid of a lot of that color splotching that you see when you are editing your photos. If you're in a dark environment, you pump up your ISO, you'll see like these green and red and blue splotches on your image. That'll clear up a lot of that. And I find it very fantastic, so I bump that up as much as possible, because grain is not a terrible thing, especially in black and white images, but even color, it adds character. If the first thing a client or a person or an artist notices when they look at an image is the grain, then it's not a very good picture. So that's something to think about in the future. Alright, so yeah, like I said, I wanted to add a little bit more of that, smoothen, add a little noise reduction in there, so that way the sharp details really go in the finer spots instead of the smoother spots. Let's see here. Do we want to add? Probably not. Let's oh, we don't want to blow too much of that. We want to see that the building is there, so we don't want to add really any highlight. I mean, some people like that blown out, but in a corner with those nice powerful lines, I think I'm going to keep them there to at least some degree. Let's darken the shadows a little bit. Oh yeah, see? They're looking nice. There we go. They're looking much more human now. Up that white. You want your whites to be white, but you also want to show detail in the image, or detail in their clothes. So you don't want to blow out their outfit too much. I don't mind there being just a tad bit of pure white in their outfit, as long as you can see the details, which is why you want to drop those shadows and drop those blacks, is to really pull that detail back in. And also dropping the highlights in here, although it's still making this look very white, you can see a lot of the detail still in his outfit, which still gives him shape. He's not just a white splotch, which is important. Alright, clarity tool. Now this is a tool, in my opinion, a lot of people go a little overboard on. I like to add a little bit of clarity, not too much. I usually keep it around 10 to 15. Some images, if I want them to be a little bit more punchy, I'll go all the way up to 20. But if you go too high, look at this. Look at this. This is like Walking Dead horror movie. Yeah! Look at the murder! Which we don't want murder. So we'll go back out. Only add about... let's add 20. Let's add 20. I think 20 is going a little too much. So let's go 15. There we go. And then some of that vibrance. Vibrance is a nice tool that'll add color and add overall appeal to your image. But it's much different than saturation, because saturation, even used just even minusculely incorrectly, will just destroy your image appearance. It'll make your people look like Oompa Loompas. More so than they look like that they're warm, welcoming, and maybe even have a little bit of a tan. Saturation will actually straight up make them look like an Oompa Loompa. See, that is way too much gold. We don't want that. We want pleasant. Nothing wrong with adding a little bit though, but we don't want to go overboard. And now remember this, we've had a lot of yellow, we've had a lot of vibrance, and we've had a lot of saturation. So some point in this picture, we're going to want to whiten their teeth, because even if they have white teeth, or even just a little bit of yellow teeth, it's going to become very noticeable when we make these adjustments. So we'll get to that once we start doing our local adjustments. Now let's see here. Can't mess with these. I'm not going to do that for the overall, for this particular image. I'm not going to use it. Now this one I like to use. This image, it doesn't make too much of a difference. That those prime lenses, especially the 50mm 1.8, does not give you a lot of distortion on a cropped lens, or cropped body. I'm sorry. So you're not going to get that much of a difference there. Chromatic abrasions, maybe a little bit, but it's stopped down to 6.3. So chromatic abrasions should be pretty pristine. Vignetting, do we want to add a little vignetting? Let's see here, let's darken, isolate them maybe a little bit. Don't know if I, never go above. I mean, there's a lot, I've seen a lot of, especially local photographers, which granted I'm in the Detroit area, so a lot of our local photographers are very cheap. They like to add the white in the corners. White in the corners looks terrible, my opinion. I do not have too much respect for the people that whiten their borders. Sure, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it gives a heavenly look. No, it's not very appealing, my opinion. So, do we want to darken those corners? Let's see here. Let's actually go back to 0, and then we'll go to right here, and we'll. Let's go. Let's just keep it like it is. There we go. And then let's start doing the local adjustments. Okay, so we're going to start with teeth. Let's get in there. Again, those pearly whites are no longer pearly. So we are going to want to use our local brushes for our local adjustments. We've got our teeth whitening here, along with some others. And we are just going to scrub these little suckers down. Oh, very recommended to hit that O button before we get started. What that'll do is it brings out the overlay and allows us to see what we're painting a lot more. If you're using flow during your local adjustments, this is very important, because if, let's say you use a flow of 60, you have to scrub that a couple times in order to get 100% of the effect in a particular spot. So this overlay will really help you kind of just visualize that. So let's get down here. Don't want to get the gums. Let's hit O again. Let's see how that looks. There we go. That's pristine. You don't want to go overboard either on the teeth whitening. I've seen some people have the wrong levels for their teeth whitening, and it makes your teeth gray. We don't want gray. We want white and pearly. But you also don't want them to be like blown out where the first thing you notice in the image is the teeth. That is not the first thing you should notice in an image. Teeth are supposed to be a subtle smile, a beautiful thing, and we want to keep it that way. Remember, editing, although is a very important part, you're only augmenting reality. You are not enhancing it. There we go. And if you feel like the teeth are a little too much on a particular person, if you click it where they got the little black circle in there, click and drag this over, and you can lessen the effect all the way down basically to 0. So if you feel like you went too far, you want to bring it back a little bit, let's say right there, you can do that. Zoom out, and that still looks fantastic while still looking a little bit more realistic. Okay, so now what I like to do is I like to ask the bride or groom if there's any blemishes on them that bothers them. Some people like freckles, some people don't. I think freckles are beautiful. But ask them, because you don't want to do every single picture with remove 100 freckles. But definitely ask them, listen, is there anything for your wedding day, for your wedding pictures, that you would rather not see? And definitely push for anything minor. Because if they suddenly think, oh, you can straighten my nose, you can make me taller, you can lengthen my neck, you can make me thinner. Thinner is a big one we hear a lot. You don't want to be doing that to every picture, and you shouldn't have to do that to every picture. Remember, this is their wedding day. You're capturing them. There's no reason why you should have to completely change who they are because they want to be somebody different. Okay, so what I'm using here is the clarity tool. It's a fantastic little tool that makes jewelry look amazing. So things like necklaces, earrings, rings, they'll give it a little bit more shine, a little bit more detail. Again, on people it does not look good. I know I was talking about it earlier how I don't like to add a lot of clarity, but when you add it to jewelry, give them a little bit more shine, a little bit more noticeableness, a little sharper, and I like that. Makes it stand out. Because jewelry is supposed to stand out. That's why they make it shiny, that's why they make it glittery, and that's why they make it so expensive. Because girls want to shine. Girls want to shine. Especially on their wedding day. So, here we go. Boom. The earring. So now we got two very beautiful earrings that are just glistening slightly. Again, you don't want to take away from the picture. And wait for that to sharpen up. I can't wait to upgrade the solid state drives. They're going down in price, and that's going to help a lot with my load time, especially when I'm recording video. But we got that. That's looking nice. We got a little bit of grain in there, but not enough to take away from the image, which we like. They didn't say they wanted any freckles removed, but this is something I will do, especially on a image that I want to add a little bit more punch to. I will soften their skin. Because sometimes when you go a little overboard, just a tad bit overboard on some of your edits, the skin can look a little funky, and this will help take that back. So we're gonna go like this and soften that skin right there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Beautiful. Just stay away from that necklace. There we go. And just so you see the difference, see how it's kind of just a little bit more flatter. I mean, a lot of people like things to pop out a little bit more, but on skin, you really want it to be flatter. And what I'll do too, clarity is also a nice tool for hair. But you gotta be careful, because it'll make your hair look greasy. We don't want greasy hair, we want fantastic hair. So, And then her hair is pretty straight on, so I don't know if we should really dance with that double, but we'll go around and we'll see the difference. Always over-exaggerate your difference if you're wondering if it's going to make a difference. Because if you over-exaggerate it, you can at least then visualize, oh, that is the highest outcome or the lowest outcome of what you're doing. That is the worst it can get, that's the best it can get. And then you can adjust from there to make it more realistic. So, let's go back and go like that. Go like that. You know what? I think I like it like that. Kind of gives out her hair a little bit more, stands it out a little bit. But being it's hair, what I'm also going to do, because we like detail in hair, we're going to go back to this, hit that O button, so we can see the area in which we affected. And we are going to actually still keep it at 100. I think I like that. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. We're going to see how this looks. Now remember, the beautiful thing about Lightroom is you can go back. It is honestly a beautiful thing. You make mistakes, Lightroom is very forgiving. Okay, alright, let's see how we like that. You know what? Let's do a little one-on-one action there. One-to-one. There we go. And I think I'm content with that. She doesn't have too many stray hairs. I definitely would not recommend what I just did if she had a lot of stray hairs. There's a little bit up there. I could touch that up, but that's more of a Photoshop job, in my opinion, than a Lightroom job. Now, eyeballs. This is a very tricky one. Eyeballs, you can mess up eyeballs so badly, and you can be like, oh, that looks better, right? And then you go to look at it on a smaller form factor, let's say a print, or a small print, or maybe a thumbnail, and they look like they have demon eyes. So we want to be careful with this. I used to have a preset specifically for eyes, and you know what? Oh, wait. I think I still have that preset. It's a little too powerful. This might have been one of my old ones. Let's just see what it does. Oh yeah, turns it red. Go over here. Let's hit done. Yeah, see those? That's what I'm talking about. Those are demon eyes. Straight up from another universe. Let's do the one-to-one. See, she looks like she's been took over by a demonic force. So let's go back. Again, Lightroom is a beautifully forgiving program. Let's just turn that off. And let's go just a tad bit. This is probably thinking of what I could do to make them just a tad bit nicer. Plus 15. Let's go 15 in contrast, and let's bump up there. Let's go 10 on that. Okay. And let's try that. And again, if you still don't even like it, let's try it before. Oh, that is a minor difference. Like I said, eyeballs are tricky. Let's bring that up a little bit. Let's go 0.12. Let's try that. There we go. And then iris enhance. And although there's not too much color from this image, I'll still just give it a little bit. I'm going to reduce it a little bit because, again, we don't want to go overboard. Okay, I'll zoom out. There we go. And a good way to check eyes is if you go to Navigator, and especially if you're on a retina screen, you can tell. If it's overdone, you can tell from there. And then let's just do one more thing, because we haven't really touched spot removal. Let's do a little bit something for under her eyes. Okay, we're big thing about taking care of bags under the eyes, you do not want to do 100%. If you get completely rid of the eyes, or the bags under the eyes, that'll look very alien-esque. We just want to make them look like they just had a little bit more rest. See, we got a little bit of darkness under the eyes still, a little bit from that makeup, and still have that little bit of skin crease, and it makes it look natural. She looks like she's well rested, but she doesn't look like an alien, which is always a win in my book. Let's try that zoom. There we go. So yeah, I think this is a big improvement. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. So reset. This is what we had, and this is what we have now. This is ready for a print. This is good client image. And you know what? You can always go back and remake other adjustments. I mean, technically all the way until you send it back to the client. But if you're updating your portfolio, don't be afraid, especially if you still have your RAWs, to go back and re-edit. I still go back and re-edit some of my images. Heck, this is technically going back and re-editing one of my older images. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, this is my assistant's image. I should clarify that. And then we're going to put a little bit on there. Clarity, saturation. Sorry, this is the last minute tweak. Again, you can always go back and make minor adjustments to make things pop a little bit more. Let me see here. So, pop that a little bit more, pop that a little bit more. There we go. I like that. Okay, so what we had, what we have. I'm content with that. And even if you wanted to get a custom framing, this would be a fantastic 1x1, especially to get rid of that white card that's very distracting. Boom. Off-center it a little bit so that way you can get that kind of rules of thirds. He's right there, kind of looking off in the distance. She's kind of looking this way. Oh, what's that? Maybe it's somebody I know. Da 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 da. We're all happy. It's our wedding. So that completes that. Yep, that completes that. I hope you liked this little tutorial. There will be more on the way. Again, this is Digital Darkroom. You're going to see a lot of stuff coming from us in 2014. That is going to be our big year. So definitely let us know how we can improve, how you like the tutorials, what I can do differently, and we'll progress and develop our services and our product to suit your needs. Again, this is Curtis Crowe from Digital Darkroom, signing off. Hooah!